Welcome back, everyone, to the Real Talk Podcast. I am your host, Liam Crowley, and on today's episode, episode 5, we will be reviewing the hit 80s film Top Gun, starring Tom Cruise and Val Kilmer, as well as getting into some movie news. We have the new Justice League trailer that premiered on Sunday. We have a new Star Wars trailer, probably the only official trailer we'll get for The Last Jedi before its release, which premiered on Monday during Monday Night Football at halftime. And we do have a new story about Creed has a director, since Ryan Coogler had a conflict with Black Panther. We have Sylvester Stallone stepping into the director's seat. Joining me on today's podcast is Mike Gillis. Mike, what's going on?
Hey, what's up, guys? Recording from home today, so hopefully the audio isn't too bad, but still, as always, happy to be here recording.
Yeah, we were kind of crunched for time today, so we're doing this over Skype, and so my audio might be clear because I obviously have a microphone, but Mike's might be a little fuzzy, but that's just how it's going to be with technology. But lucky to have it in the first place because, you know, we can make it happen despite being in two different locations.
Next week should sound better. Hopefully.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so to start off, we are going to start with the weekend box office, a segment we introduced last week, and I want to continue on with it, and we'll just run down the top 5, and we'll give our thoughts on where we think movies should be, as well as some movies that were left off the top 5. So coming in at number 1, without any surprise, is Blade Runner 2049, making $32.7 million. Coming in at number 2 is The Mountain Between Us, making $10.5 million. Coming in at number 3, still going strong, is It, making $9.9 million. Coming in at number 4 is My Little Pony the movie. Didn't know that was even a thing, but it made $8.8 million. And rounding out the top 5 is Kingsman: The Golden Circle, making $8.6 million. Just to give my general thoughts, what sticks out immensely is Blade Runner 2049, because we referenced it on last week's podcast about Blade Runner 2049 and how this movie really needed to break the bank and they really needed to hammer home. And I was expecting 70, 80, maybe even $100 million opening weekend. To open with 32, it's depressing for this movie, because what hurts me is not that it's a great movie is what I've heard, and critics say go out and see it. People are calling it one of the greatest sequels of all time. Yes, it's 2 hours and 43 minutes, which I think could lead to some apprehensions because that is a very long movie. But with a production budget of $150 million, that doesn't include marketing as well as what you got to do to pay the actors. Ryan Gosling is not cheap coming off of La La Land. Jared Leto Harrison Ford as well. Never been cheap. Jared Leto, always been an expensive actor. So this news with it coming in at number 1, yes, unexpectedly. No, not unexpectedly, without any surprise. But the fact only $32.7 million, it's got to be a disappointment for Blade Runner 2049.
Yeah, it's too bad. It's quite similar to what the original Blade Runner's box office was. I mean, not at $30 million, but it's still lower than they want it to be. And I see why. Like, it's a long movie, and most people aren't going to dedicate 2 hours to go to the movie, even though, like, if you go to the movies, why not? But some people just don't want to do that. And I think the subject matter is, like, the original Blade Runner was years ago. So if you didn't see it, like, oh, why should I go see the sequel if you don't really know what's going on? Which causes, like, oh, no, I have to see the first movie, and then people aren't just going to go to see the sequel, which that loses the amount of people who will go see it.
Yeah, for sure. And a lot of people are going off this movie. Even the studio making it, Warner Brothers, was going off the idea that it is a nostalgic movie and it's become a cult classic. So they figured they'd make a lot of money off of it. But maybe people don't care about Blade Runner as much as they thought. I hate to say it because it's a fantastic movie with a fantastic message, but maybe their perception about the movie in general was wrong. It just sucks to see something like this happen because the work that went into this movie, and Denis Villeneuve, the director, it looks like an action movie in the trailers, but people who have seen it have said it's amazing and it's not so much action, and he wanted to make a right sequel to Blade Runner. He didn't want to turn it into an action franchise, and to see the care a director like that putting behind a film, as well as Harrison Ford coming back to play Deckard, Eric Deckard?
No,
it's some
Jack? Is it Jack Deckard?
something Deckard. I don't think it's Jack Deckard. Why am I forgetting this? Rick Deckard. Rick Decker, that's what it is. And the fact that he comes back, get A-list actors like Ryan Gosling and Jared Leto, and to have it only make that much money, it's kind of disappointing. Or do you have any final thoughts?
I'm just really upset because, like, when you finally have like a great movie to go and see, it's just not making the money back, and then that's going to set a precedent for other studios to not do that again.
Yeah.
Actually put the time in to make proper sequels to stuff.
Yeah, that's a great point, because this news, it kind of transcends just what Blade Runner represents, because Blade Runner, yes, it's not. The original movie was an original. Oh no, it's based off a book.
It is based. It's like do androids dream of electric sheep?
Yeah. So it's not completely original, but it was an original idea. And yes, the sequel is going back to a movie from 1982.
Which was a cult film to begin with.
Yes.
Like, think of that. So only the cult people are gonna go see it.
Right, and what Mike said I really caught on was that studios, when they see stuff like this happen, when they try to revisit properties like this and they see what doesn't work, it's tough, because I don't know many people who are clamoring for more Transformers movies, yet they still make $1 billion each time. I know the last one fell off significantly, but I still believe it made upwards of $500 million at the box office. I'll pull that figure up now. But
you also got to think about foreign. Like, these movies go to other countries, and like China's a huge market for like Hollywood. Even though it sounds weird, like once the movie's finished, it goes overseas. It makes so much more money. So like the American box office isn't the only thing to look at. You have to see how like Transformers movies perform wonderfully over like in Asia. Yeah. Transformers: The Last Night, the most recent Transformers movie, made $605 million worldwide. 475 of that coming from overseas. So yeah, I do like your point about the overseas money, because yes, it's made now a total of 40.7 million, so slowly creeping up a little more. Worldwide it's at 90 million, but the foreign and domestic, it's 40 million versus 49 million. They're very tight for this movie. And so yeah, just seeing that, and just how studios might just go back to, well, we need to make money somehow, and we can't be rolling the dice revisiting properties that didn't work financially in the first place. And so they were taking a risk by revisiting this property at all. Making a sequel. I think if they wanted to reboot it, that's not a risk, but making a sequel to a 1982 movie is a huge risk, and I'm happy it paid off creatively and critically, but not. It's too bad it didn't box office wise. Yeah,
it is tough. Just more thoughts on the box office. It's obviously still going strong. I'm very surprised it's still in the top 3 nonetheless, not just the top 5.
I mean, Halloween's coming around. It's like the only good horror movie out right now.
Very true.
People are gonna go see it.
American Made, the Tom Cruise movie.
It's not doing good?
Well, it missed the top 5. And on a budget of $50 million, it has made its money back worldwide with $101 million total. But it comes in at number 6, and it's only been out for 2 weeks now. So already dropping off the top 5. Or, no, this is its 3rd week at the box office, I believe. But already dropping off the top 5. I apologize. This is its 2nd week at the box office. The release date was just kind of confusing based on international, but only 2nd week of the box office, already dropping out of the top 5. Not a good sign for American Made. And just maybe it could be the release date, just a random time in September, or it could be the fact that, does this show that Tom Cruise doesn't have the drawing power he used to? Or
I think it's just like the movie. It's not a big movie. Like,
that's true.
Yeah, I mean, it could be also like Tom Cruise movies. You gotta go see the Tom Cruise movie. Maybe it's that, but I think it's just because like what it is. Like not everyone's interested in seeing that. Yeah,
I mean, people still come up for the Mission Impossible movies, but just pulling up the latest Tom Cruise movie, which is The Mummy, it did make $409 million worldwide, so he is still a global box office attraction, but domestically only $80 million on a $125 million budget. Not even. For what?
For The Mummy?
Yes, for The Mummy.
Jeez, I didn't know that.
So despite its $125 million budget, it didn't even make that back in the United States. So we are kind of in this age where the movie star, it's not as much, and it's leaning more on the properties. But still, those properties still have to have some sort of name recognition. That's why people go out for the Marvel movies, the DC movies, the Star Wars movies, stuff like that. All right, so any final thoughts on the box office recap from this past weekend?
I'm happy to see. It is good. Blade Runner is number one. It may not make a lot, but
it's
it
true.
is number one.
It's number one significantly. It's the number two movie, The Mountain Between Us, is at 10.5 million. So
it didn't get good reviews.
It did get good reviews?
It didn't.
It didn't? It did. I believe it's just some sort of romance movie, or I'm not gonna try and make up stuff about it. I don't really know much about it.
I did see Kingsman: The Golden Circle over the weekend, and I enjoyed it quite a bit. It was actually it was a surprise because I thought it wasn't going to be as good as the first one, but I think it was on par, honestly. I think the critics were a little too harsh on it. Yeah,
that's awesome. Did you have any... Well, we can transition into that, actually. So, rounding out the box office recap, we're just disappointed to see Blade Runner not being as much of a smash success as we originally expected. But Mike did go see Kingsman: The Golden Circle this weekend. I, unfortunately, did not. But if you want to just give some thoughts on the movie in general, we can probably stay away from spoilers just because we can't really go too in depth. But what are your overall thoughts on Kingsman: The Golden Circle?
I honestly really liked it. It was funny. I had the same pacing as the first one, like quick pacing. The editing was awesome. Like all the action scenes were like on the fists and on it's like very tight up on stuff, and it looked cool. The story was actually pretty interesting. It had some surprising twists that I didn't see coming, which I always enjoy that, because if I can see a twist coming, I'll see it, but this time it actually got me. And the villain was actually quite good. I thought it wasn't going to be good. I forget the actress, but she played Poppy, and she was actually a pretty intimidating villain. She ran like a drug ring thing, and her whole thing was she's trying to get drugs legalized in the world, and that's kind of like the whole plot of the movie. Awesome.
And then you did have something to say about the usage of Channing Tatum, I believe, right?
Oh, yeah. They didn't use him as much as they could. He's featured prominently in the trailers, and he doesn't. I don't want to spoil anything, but he goes away, and he could have been used more in that movie. And I'm just gonna say he goes away.
Yeah. And did you like his character?
I did. His character was actually quite funny.
Yeah. So the Poppy character you're referencing was played by Julianne Moore.
Julianne Moore. Yes.
Okay. Well, awesome. I would agree. It's still a movie you should go out and see it. It seems like a fun action flick. I'll probably honestly wait for either Blu-ray or direct-to-video release or something like that. Just because my priority right now is still to see Blade Runner. I was busy this past weekend, but Blade Runner 2049 is still, as I referenced last week, it is my priority film. Okay, so we are going to transition into the first of our two trailer reviews. We're going to start with the Justice League trailer, and I am going to play it over the podcast. I can't guarantee the audio will be amazing, but hopefully it is clear enough that you can keep along or watch at home with us, essentially. And, I can put some thoughts over it as I play it, if that works for you, yeah?
Yeah, that's cool.
Alright, awesome. We're going to start with the Justice League trailer.
Let's do it.
Alright, so the beginning, they just go through that quick little montage just to hype you up for the trailer. Amy Adams is Lois Lane looking out into the field. A lot of color, actually. Some good, some light green in their plants and their corn stalk.
The Ring. Must be in Smallville.
I would assume so.